Hey Bonehawks, this video is all about Mortal Kombat 1. This is part 2 of our beginner's guide. We're going into a couple things here. Got a few questions in my last video about what is canceling. I'm going to explain what canceling is, how to use it, where to apply it. We're going to go into a little bit more detail on your Kameo, as far as what an ambush move is and a summon move is, the difference and when to use them. And lastly, we're going to go into throws, how to defend against them, how they work in a little bit more detail than we went into in the last one. And yeah, I think that's it. Let's get into it.
Accept your death.
Well, the first topic we're going into is canceling. What does it mean, and how do you do it? And it's very, very easy, and it's just a fancy term that kind of gets a little bit more confusing than it actually is. So we're looking at Melina's move here, Adjust the Tip. And if we do this move, and then we hold the block button immediately afterwards, there's a little bit of a time there before we can block again. This is called a recovery. As the move recovers, you get back to being able to do a blocking state. We can actually cover that recovery, weird sentence, by just hitting the triangle button here. And then instead of leaving ourselves open for a second, we've added a second attack. We've canceled one button into another button. It's basically just comboing. But you have to know which moves are cancelable and which moves are not cancelable. So most moves are, but there are some in this list, and we can tell by hitting the square button here. You see on the bottom it says Advanced View. I don't want you to focus on much more in this screen other than where it says Cancel on the very bottom. Where it says NA, you can't cancel this move into anything else. No special moves, no other normals. Normals being, of course, any attack that's not a special move. So once we do this last move here, we've committed. That's the end of that string. Okay? There is an exception to this in this game, but I'm going to go into that in just a little bit here because I want to just cover canceling the basics just a little bit more. So instead of doing that last hit, so let's take the same thing for example, right? We have this last hit that we want to commit to. Say we don't want to commit, but we still say get this first two hits. We can do those into a special move, which is called special canceling. So you do these two, and instead of doing the throw as the last hit, you special cancel it. You've probably been doing this already, you just didn't even realize what it was. But yeah, that's what it is. And then of course you can special cancel into like a combo launcher, with something like Melina's ball roll. Boom. There you go. Now here's where that game takes those limits and kind of bends them, is you can actually cancel a non-cancelable move into an ambush attack with your Kameo. I'm going to explain what exactly an ambush attack is in just a moment here, but basically you can call our Kameo out for times when we wouldn't really be able to do anything else. So let's take this string for example here. That is a non-cancelable string. That is this one right here. And we can see that it says cancel NA, so you cannot cancel it. That being said, we can still call our Kameo out, and that will turn this non-cancelable move into a combo attack. Let's see if we can do this. It's a little bit tight because you have to call Kano right at the start of it, and it's just an example I want to show you. There you go. So generally that string would have just ended, but because we used our Kameo, we extended the combo and got more damage. So you got to think about canceling within the actual strings and special moves, as well as thinking of canceling into your Kameo as well. So we're going to go into, again, the different types of Kameo attacks in a moment. Right now we're just talking about canceling. So there's also a different, unique kind of way to cancel, which is called 2-in-1 canceling. And this comes to special moves, and this is why I chose Melina, because she has a good example of this. So she has her homing ball. Let me just set the meter to full so I don't have to keep... It costs a bar of meter to use this move, but you can delay it. And in the true meaning of the word, you can actually just straight up cancel it. Just say, actually, I don't want to do this anymore. Drop to the ground, so that would be canceling that move. In the moves list, if you want to see if you can do stuff like that, it's got all the stuff right down here. Air homing ball, how to hold it, how to cancel it. So just straight up cancel, or we could just hit the attack. Now, what makes it a 2-in-1 is that immediately after you hit the homing ball, you can actually cancel it into her air teleport. So you're canceling one special move into another special move. Pretty nuts, right? Boom. That looks pretty cool. That's the move on its own. This is the move canceled into the air teleport. So, pretty sick stuff. And to kind of go full circle with this, we're going to cancel a normal move, which is just a jump kick. We're going to cancel it into the homing ball, and then we're going to cancel it into the teleport. This is kind of like everything put together. Boom, right there. Oh, I missed it. Oh, I missed it again. Huh, I'm not even going to try it now. I just did it. Well, that's canceling in a nutshell. I hope that kind of explained what that means. It's a little bit more daunting of a term than what it actually is. But from then, we're going to move on to cameos and the difference between ambush and summon. So there are two main attacks when you're using your cameo. The main one and the one that I found a little bit more powerful is the ambush attacks. So these attacks you can do while you're simultaneously doing other buttons. So we did ball roll, and then Kano did his little ball, or just a couple of ball buddies over here, you know what I'm saying? That probably means something I don't know, but anyways. Yeah, and I don't have to be stationary or anything. The second move is called a summon attack. And this one is one that you want to be careful when you're using because it does actually make you stationary for a moment. So you might be vulnerable to some stuff depending on what's going on the screen. So Kano's is his eye laser. You can see he even pushes her head down as he does it. So yeah, you can't do anything else in that scenario. As you've already seen, one of my favorite cameos in the game is the Kano knives. I think they're just good for so many different uses. And also the Kano ball can keep a lot of things really safe and kind of have a full screen mid attack, so you can kind of use it for anything. Some other summon ones is Frost, for example. So she has what's called a mix-up attack. So we were talking yesterday about the highs, lows, mids, overheads, that kind of thing. Frost is something that really kind of turns that on its head. So let's give Garrus a turn and I'll show you what's going on here. So because Frost is a low attack, right here, and that is a summon attack, so you can't do it while you're getting hit or while you're in midair or while you're in any sort of capacitated state, but you can cancel into it from a cancelable move. So the summon attacks cannot be canceled from non-cancelable moves. So that's very important. Keep that in mind. And this is why I decided to do these two things together, because they kind of intertwine, you know what I'm saying? So Garrus has this string which here is a high overhead. So instead, if we want to do a little tricky mix-up, we just cancel this move into the Frost slide, and then we have a high-low. Not the best mix-up, but it is a mix-up, and it's more just to kind of show like the strategy behind this. So they stand up to block the overhead, but then Frost comes in and slides with the low. It can also be extra tricky and just cancel the overhead into the low, so now you're like mixing up how they have to block, overhead low, overhead low. But yeah, you can only cancel the summon from cancelable strings. We do this one here. Trying to call Frost. Frost doesn't come until I'm recovered from the string. Back onto the screen. So be careful when you're using that, but they are valuable tools. And sometimes summons can put things on the screen that last longer. Example of this. So even though the actual summon part, her little active ball is on the screen when we can move around. We can maybe throw them into the ball, you know? So playing around with different cameos and the summons and the ambushes, and sometimes, I know when I was first trying to learn things in here, I was like, why does my cameo come out sometimes but not the other? That's probably the reason. So, that being said, we're going to move on to the final topic, which is throws. So we spoke yesterday about forward and backward throws and that kind of thing, but how do you defend against throws? That was a question that was asked. I thought that was a really good question, so I'm going to answer that today. How do you defend against them? Well, the first way, not exactly the safest way, but you can just duck. You can just duck without blocking. Let's see if we can set our opponent to duck. Not blocking. If you duck and block, it'll still hit you. Your throw completely whiffs. So that is one way. The second way is to use what's called a throw escape. There is a little bit of guessing, and we're going to get to explaining what the escape is first, and then I kind of want to show you how the kind of guessing game works. So to escape a throw, it depends on what direction your opponent is throwing you. So we're going to record Melina here, throwing us forward. Doing a forward throw with her cameo. So to escape that, we would press the triangle button. We get a toward escape. One more time. So then we will record Melina doing our backward throw. And to escape that, we press square. Oh, see, what happened there was I tried to tech the throw too early. Tech the throw, throw escape, it's the same thing. And then I actually got a throw counter because the move on my my jab was coming out before I actually tech the throw. So you got to be careful of that. See, the same thing I just did there again. Gotta make sure you react to the throw. Press it, I just mash it. I don't know why, it just works. So, now the big question here is, how do you know what type of throw they're going to do? Because there actually is no difference in the startup throw animation, so it is kind of a guess. However, that being said, if your opponent has their Kameo on screen or has just used their Kameo to where the point where Kameo is not available, a front throw is not available. So watch me, I'm going to use Cyrax. I'll put Cyrax on the screen here. I just do a forward shove instead. So it doesn't really do much damage. 20 damage, it's just like a little shove. So that's kind of a way to tell. If your opponent has just used their Kameo, chances are they're probably going to go for a back throw because you're going to get more damage that way. There's really no point, unless for maybe a little bit of screen positioning, to like try to do a front shove. So keep that in mind. You see the Kameo on screen, they go for a throw. It's probably a back throw because that's where they can get their damage from. But it is kind of a guess. I guess the big brain thing, if you had 20 damage left on your health bar and they just did a shove, I suppose that's would be an interesting use for that. But yeah, you get a shove if your Kameo has just been used, not available, still in like a recovery. Otherwise, you get the forward throw, of course, with the Kameo. So that can kind of ease the guessing a little bit, but unfortunately it is just a guess. If you try, trust me, I tried this initially. If you try to just mash both buttons, that doesn't work. You're going to get thrown. It's unfortunate, but you do have to kind of guess. And there's a couple different ways that you can guess. For example, the corner of any map is not where you want to be at all. It really, really sucks. So if I'm stuck in the corner, chances are I'm probably going to want to do a back throw to put my opponent in the corner and get myself out of there, you know? And likewise, if I'm the one that's pushing the offense to the corner, I'm probably going to throw you forward because throwing myself backwards and putting myself in the corner is not the most fantastic thing. So there's just nowhere to move backwards from here, which is why this position really, really smells, you know? You don't want to be here. If you can avoid being here, don't be here. So that's another way that you can kind of tell what kind of place your opponent's going to do a throw from. Now those are just for the generic throws that everybody has. Using the, I think the default is L1. I changed mine because I like my my Kameo to be L1. So you have a secondary type of throw though. I believe only Reiko and Garrus have this. You can correct me if I'm wrong out there because I'm not really one for grapplers, but it's called a command throw. Go in the move list and you see it here. It says block type throw, history lesson, and follow-up exam. So these throws, you cannot escape. You cannot escape these throws. If they hit you, they hit you. And these are ones where it might be beneficial to kind of just duck for them. But again, you're making a read, and that can be dangerous. So yeah, ducking and jumping is the only way that you can evade a command throw. They cannot be teched, so keep an eye out for that. Just to show you an example, if we set Melina to duck, not duck block, just duck, throw completely misses. So it acts kind of like a regular throw. And that's it for this one. We talked about canceling, what it is, how to do it, where to apply it. Talked a little bit more about using your Kameo, ambush and summon, and then we went over throws, defending, how they work, how to use them. So if any of this was unclear and you have questions, leave them down in the comments down below. We'll have part 3 out tomorrow, which kind of finishes up our beginner series, and then we go into the fun stuff, like the moves list. Startup 16? Hit advantage 4? What do these mean? I'm going to teach you. But we got to get through our beginner's guide first, otherwise it won't make no sense to you. So, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't because I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks and all that stuff, and we'll see all you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.